Alright, so today we're making a chair in Blender, and as you can see, we basically just have a simple cube over here. We go into editing mode, and now we delete the faces. So I'm going to be deleting that face at the front, and I'm deleting one of the faces at the top. We're just trying to create basically the shape of the chair at the moment. Okay, now once we've deleted the faces, I'm going to essentially select what we have now, so select the mesh, and we're going to subdivide once. So as you can see, I'm just trying to select all the faces first before we subdivide, and then we subdivide. Yes, and as you can see, that is what we're left with. Now we have to select two of the faces on the edge, and I'm basically going to move them down. Right, once I've moved them down, I'm going to select two edges at the top of those faces that we just moved down, and I'm going to move them back. After that, we're going back into object mode, and I press Ctrl 2 on my keyboard, which just creates more subdivision surfaces. And now I'm also just going to go into modifiers, and then we're also going to add a solidifier modifier. I'm also going to apply the one I just set, the subdivision one. But yeah, we're going to add a solidifier modifier, and I am just going to set that to 0.16. And we have to make sure we remember to apply that as well. So this solidifier just basically adds some thickness to our mesh. Right, now we go into edit mode, and I'm gonna do a loop cut on the rim and scale it a little bit. So as you can see, I'm just adding a loop cut, and yeah, I'm just gonna scale that slightly. Right, so as you can see, that is that. And now I'm gonna be selecting basically 4 sets of like edges on the chair. So you'll just see me go ahead and do that now. Just zooming in a little bit so I can make sure I select them correctly. Right, once I've selected those 4 edges, I'm gonna bevel them. And after I bevel them, I'm essentially going to add 2 more loop cuts to them as well. So you'll just see me, and I make sure you don't deselect these faces as well. Well, I accidentally did that there, but yeah, we've just add a loop cut to each of them. Well, 2 loop cuts. Right, once we've added the loop cuts, since I accidentally did deselect them, I will just need to go back and deselect those before we move on to the next step. But ideally, you don't want to deselect them because it just makes the process a bit longer. Right, now that once that is finally done, we go into object mode to solidify the subdivision surface modifier. As I just said, we just need to get that added on those on this where we selected the faces. So as you can see, I'm just making that to 2, and we have to remember to apply that as well. Now, once that is done, we basically go into sculpt mode, and we go into face sets and choose from edit mode selection. We then use the cloth filter brush, and we're going to have to change the filter type, okay? Yep. And we change it to inflate, and we make sure we check where it says add face sets. Yep, so once we've checked that, we're going to apply the brush over our mesh and until it sort of resembles what we kind of want. So I think I did a bit too much there. So yeah, that's why we just got to use it quite sparingly. So it's just a case of like really experimenting, and depends on what you really want. But I did that and I thought, okay, that looks perfect. And that's it. That's basically like our chair done. Now I am going back into object mode. We basically need to create like the base of our chair and the leg of our chair now. I'm also just like adding a color to the chair as well. So my favorite color is pink, so we're definitely going to be making that like pink color chair. A cylinder, and that cylinder obviously is way too big, so we are going to definitely make that much more thinner. Right, so you see me make that thinner here, and I'm just also going to need to extend it as well to make the leg longer. So yeah, I just moved it under the chair so it's like a bit more easier to visualize it. But yeah, just extend it till we sort of get like the perfect length that we essentially want. Right, once we basically have that, we also just need to create the base of the chair, which is what I'll be doing next. Get ourselves another mesh, and I am in this case getting another cylinder, bringing that out. Also just scaling that to make it much more smaller. And now as you can see, I'm using the S tool, just trying to basically create like a nice shape for the bottom. And also having it next to the chair kind of helps me see how big it should really be. And it's a little bit too thick, so I'm just moving it down a little bit again. It's really just a case again of just like experimenting and seeing, depending on how big your mesh is, and yeah, just sort of experimenting, seeing how big it should be. So I'm just making it more thinner after I got kind of the shape that I wanted. And now all we need to do is, once I get the shape that I want, we just move it on the leg of the chair. and now it's just sort of checking if it's perfect. And yeah, the color a little bit, so I made it like gray, silvery gray. That is basically a chair in Blender. Thank you for watching.